Hello everyone and welcome to episode 7 of the One Complete Nerd podcast. I'm Peter.
And I'm Sam.
Sorry. I was debating doing that like weeks ago. Oh dear.
Normally I do the intro.
Yeah, I know.
And I literally just clicked the thing and turned around and you were speaking. I was like, wait a minute, you stole my intro. But no, it's cool. I mean, like, I should have offered, do you want to do the intro before now?
No, it's fine. I did that for two reasons. One, I wanted to see your face. And two, it just makes a good blooper.
Well, that's staying in.
No. Start the episode again because I got one completely off topic.
Welcome everybody to the 7th episode of the One Complete Nerd podcast. I will do the intro like I normally do.
Sorry.
It's alright.
I thought it was funny, but you don't look impressed.
It was funny. It just blew my mind a little bit. I know I have to think about doing a podcast.
Oh, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much.
Yeah, so we have been away a little bit because of illness, because of COVID. I caught COVID, and then I started to get better again, and then I got a chest infection, and then you caught COVID.
Yeah, it's taken 2 years of working in hospitals all over the country, and finally I caught COVID, and it wasn't even from work. It was just simple using a bus.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even when it was cool to get it either. It was just oh hey, you're taking time off work for COVID? Yeah, I'm generally quite ill.
After a couple of attempts to do online versions of recording the podcast, we are finally back in person, looking each other in the face.
Oh God, it's hideous. I had to make that joke before you did because I knew it was coming.
But yeah, it's weird being back in the same room.
Having that time off has meant that we've been able to catch up on things. For example, I've been able to catch up on all my old games that I've been playing, and I watched a new series. Well, I don't know how new it is, but it was new to me.
Yeah.
The Jack Reacher series on Amazon.
Okay.
Again, don't know how new it is, but I was like, oh, it's the Jack Reacher film, which I've seen a few times. I might watch that for nostalgia sake. And then it said watching episode 1. And I was like, oh, this season? Oh, a series. And started watching it. And at first I was like, oh, it's not the Jack Reacher I know.
Mm.
But then I realised, oh, that's because it's the Jack Reacher from the books.
Mm.
The casting, I forget the name of the main character's casting, but the cast was so good. It's much better than the movies. And the movies is like this skinny, slick. Well, I mean, it's Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise as Jack Reacher, whereas in the series, he's just like he is in the books, a big pound of flesh, like a big muscle man. He was also intelligent, and it comes off really well. But the
actor's name is Alan Ritchson.
Oh, Alan Ritchson. Yeah, he's actually really good. He's not like, I don't think he's massively known, but I think he's done some good stuff. I think he was a voice in an animated series. I can't remember.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There you go.
Yeah, one of the really good things about Amazon that I really appreciate is that if you're watching it like on a computer or whatever, and you just like move your mouse, it's like, here is the actors that are in the scene. Here's their names, and like pops up like.
And trivia, and it's called the X-ray vision. Yeah, I do like that. It is annoying sometimes when like you sneeze or cough or something, and you look over. It's like, no, the climax of the scene. Get off the screen. But yeah, it points you like, who's that or what's happening here? It's actually quite interesting, like you say. But back to the series. I'm not going to do any spoilers, so it's spoiler free in case anyone wants to watch it. And I do recommend watching it if you like. I don't know the name for it, but like macho films, I'd class the Bourne series and James, like films for guys.
It's a spy thriller.
It's not really a spy thriller, but yeah,
action spy thriller.
Action, yeah, but like where the character's like an ex-military badass. Like, think Transporter. Like, I love those kind of films where, like, they're underestimated. And they're like, give me your car. And he's like, nope. And then, like, proceeds to flip out and knock them all out. But I would recommend watching it because it's a really good mystery. A very, very thriller-like you say. And there were some points where I was like, one of my favourite things to do while watching this show or movie is something happens. I'm like I sort of go, I know what happens next. I know what's going to happen by the end. Yeah. And, like, predict what's going to happen. And either I'm like, oh, it didn't happen. my expectations have been like, what's the word? Not
Subverted.
Pardon?
Subverted.
That's the word. Yeah, subverted. I was going to say circumcised, but that's not right.
That's a whole different.
That's a whole different thing. Or it's like I get the satisfaction of like, hey, I knew it, sort of thing. But it was absolutely the former in this series. Is every time I predicted something,
it was wrong.
It wasn't necessarily like, so I got it right sometimes, but it was like minor things.
Yeah,
it wasn't like blowing the case wide open. But the last thing is it's also not necessarily for the faint of heart. It is quite violent, and that's probably the wrong way to say it. It doesn't pull its punches, and it's not afraid to show you the gruesomeness.
Yeah.
Because obviously murder mysteries, a lot of the time, like someone will walk in a room and the character reacts to the scene, but you'll never see the scene. So, they walk in the scene, it's like, oh, good God, and there's flies everywhere, there's blood on the wall, but you don't see the corpse or anything. It's not like that in this show. It's like, oh, good God, and the camera pans to the scene of the crime. It's like, oh, good God, you react to yourself.
Yeah. I like the Jack Reacher series. Obviously, it was established as a book. I've not watched this series. I've not watched the Tom Cruise movies. But first you've had a book series, and then you had a Tom Cruise movie. So the franchise has definitely established itself as something that exists and can make money. So that really leans into why the studio then trusts that this will make money. It's a pre-established, even if it's a reboot of a series, of an idea. Now you can cast an unknown actor who is perfect for the role, and you can put together a production crew who actually wants to make something loyal to the books and loyal to the style that doesn't necessarily just have to be a Tom Cruise movie to make lots of money.
This might get just a slight spoiler warning if you don't know anything about Jack Reacher. But in the books, the one characteristic that is always portrayed as Jack Reacher is he's a wanderer. So, for example, I'll talk about the movies because they're quite old, so it's probably better. It's not too spoilery, but the character comes in for whatever reason, whether he's called in, he stumbles in, whatever, and leaves at the end. He's done his job, he's moving on. He goes from town to town, wherever the wind takes him,
like a cowboy,
kind of, but more just enjoying his life after his service and everything. And from episode 1, it's the character's portrayed as such in the series, and it's at no point is it hey, I'm gonna come back to this town. By the end, you're lucky if you get, I might turn up one day. So it'd be really interesting to see if I would be surprised if they didn't make a sequel. Or a second season or something, because I really enjoyed it.
They've been pushing it quite heavily on the advertising. So does it do?
Did they? I know nothing about it.
I've seen a few banners of Jack Reacher on Amazon. Even just when I've just been shopping, it's go to Amazon Prime and watch Jack Reacher. So they've been pushing.
I just stumbled across it, but it was a case of season 2. It's not going to be the same characters again. It might, if you're lucky, you might get look, that character from season 1.
So is each episode a different town with a different problem?
No,
or is it?
That's the thing. So it's 10 to 12 episodes. I forget off the top of my head. It's all in the same town, same mystery. It's not like a Scooby-Doo episode where he was aha, it was this person all along. It's an overarching thing of 10 episodes. And it was really interesting. So that's what I'm saying. If they make a season 2, it would be a different mystery, different town, different place, different people. Obviously, a different town means different place, but you know what I mean.
I mean, that's what you want.
So it wouldn't be a case of wow, this town, this quiet little Georgian town, is really popular all of a sudden. Lots of crime.
There are series things like True Detective, which do that. True Detective, they did a full season with 2 detectives, and then for season 2, completely different case, completely different detectives, completely different cast. Obviously, you'd still have your Jack Reacher character, but he'd be in a different town. He'd be based on a different book. So that'd be interesting to see. To the people that have read the books and didn't like the films, give the series a chance, because it is kind of like having the books made manifest. So, speaking of gritty, violent, dark themes, I got to go to the cinema.
Oh God, why would you go to such a dark room with strangers? Like, you never know what they're going to do to you in there.
I actually went to the cinema twice in a week.
You put your life in danger twice and didn't invite me?
Well, I was going to invite you to go and see the Batman, but you didn't seem that.
I think I was dying of COVID.
Oh, that was it. That was why I didn't invite you.
It's like, I'm dying. He's like, I'm going to go see a movie. Why did you leave me to suffer alone? Come space engineers with me.
But yeah, I went to watch both the Batman movie and Uncharted in the same week because it was my and my fiance's anniversary. We've been together 6 years now, so we went to the cinema to watch Uncharted, and then she's not interested in Batman. So I went to see Batman on my own. I have no problems with going to the cinema on my own. Anybody that does, I don't know why people don't want to go to the cinema on their own. Maybe I just love film too much.
Maybe I have no problem with the concept. Like, I wouldn't mind doing it myself, but there's no what I would call, nice cinema in the local area. Like, there are some, a couple of train stops away. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to get in my car and drive on my own.
Just to go to cinema.
When I can watch stuff that I haven't seen on Netflix and Amazon, which I pay for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the problem, is there's so much of everything everywhere. Yeah. You don't have enough time in the day. I mean, I get home from work and my mind goes, right, I have games to play, Warhammer to paint and build, series to watch, college assignments to do, manga to read, anime to watch, movies to watch. It's like, and you just sit there, and I end up sitting there going, over the head and hands going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Too many choices.
Too many choices, yeah. So the concept of going to a cinema is one of those things where I probably wouldn't go on my own, purely because I have other things that I can do.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you were like, hey Sam, do you want to go watch this? I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to go watch this.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to go watch the Batman movie, and I didn't want to risk spoilers because I've been looking forward to this for a bit. A very dark, gritty world of Gotham in this movie. If you've watched the Christian Bale, Christopher Nolan versions of Batman, that felt down to earth. That felt realistic compared to all other versions of Batman that have come before it that have been a bit like sci-fi, supernatural, campy, like
basically a Batman comic.
Yeah, an actual comic.
Yeah, there's two types of comic. You've got the gritty. Well, it's sort of like over time escalated from like, it used to be campy and like the Batmobile and my Batarang in my bat belt. And it's like, what have you got in your bat belt, Batman? And it's like everything I could possibly ever need. It's my Deus Ex Machina belt.
Yeah, this
and then it turned into like, let's turn this into gritty, realistic murder history, which I think has done it good.
The most recent version of Batman, what they deliberately set out to do was not make Batman the thug, Batman the brute. They set out to make the detective Batman, which has been lacking in so many previous versions. This had his brain, and even when his brain failed, like Alfred helped out with some of like the riddles. The main villain from this film is the Riddler, so even Alfred was helping out with some of the riddles and stuff.
The Riddler is one of my favourite Batman enemies.
Yeah.
Mostly because when I played Arkham Knight and Arkham City, the games, when I finally got all the riddles, because you know me, I like to 100% my games. When I finally got all the riddles, it was like, aha, Batman, punch, punch, punch. That was so bloody satisfying.
But this film kind of feels more like the Arkham games than any other Batman that I've played, that I've seen as a film. A little bit, obviously, a little more grounded, realistic. But like in those games, you have like the detective vision where you can see footprints and stuff like that.
You can see the skeletons. Yeah. It becomes Spookfest 20 whatever.
It kind of works in that way a little bit, and it's intelligent in that way. I think like two of the big criticisms I've heard about the film is like people saying, "Oh, it's the Twilight guy playing Batman.
I have seen that meme, yeah.
And-
It's like, look how this vampire, like, now he can truly become a bat. It's or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, now he's grown out of his sparkle phase and become a bat.
But after, like, how long is it now? Maybe like 5-10 years since the end of Twilight? I can't remember
I
when.
never saw Twilight, never read it, and the only thing I know about it is from memes.
Well, they made 5
off
movies.
comments.
They made 5 movies, and after
I
that,
thought it was 3.
there's 4 books. The last one they split into 2 movies. And after he did that, he then had so much money that he could make the projects he wanted to, and he became such a better actor. I mean, he was a good actor anyway. He was just in an awful franchise, but he could choose the projects he wanted to and could explore his range and could explore his acting because he didn't need the money. He could do what he wanted, which has massively made him improve as an actor, and he's done some really interesting indie projects. So now, Robert Pattinson
Robert Pattinson.
He is up there in the top Batmans.
You think?
The most people are preferring The Dark Knight still over this one, and I understand why. But I think he's a really good. I think this version of Batman is really good. I think the casting overall for this film really good. Paul Dano playing the Riddler is really interesting. What they did with that character to modernize that character, to introduce like internet culture into a gritty, dark, realistic world, really interesting. Again, no spoilers.
Again, as I had no interest in seeing this Batman film,
Yeah.
you've actually made me interested in watching it. Probably because of the Riddler, but like that's the unfortunate thing of Batman. Is I think I can't remember where the quote is. It might be from one of the Batman games or something else, but your enemies define you. Oh, I think it might have been Batman Arkham, the third one, the one that was all buggy and stuff.
Yeah.
At the back of the box is like your enemies define you, and it's like, well, these are all the B ranked because we need new enemies. Like if these are your villains, Batman, then you're a B ranker.
Yeah.
But in the movies, as I always felt, the Joker. Who was the guy that played the Joker? It was like, why so serious?
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, that's the one. Heath Ledger's Joker upstaged Batman.
He did.
Bane upstaged Batman, who wasn't even technically the main villain of that movie.
Yeah. This is what I will always say about Batman is the reason that he is the most interesting superhero is not because of Batman, it's because of his villains.
Yeah.
I think he has the best villains of any comic book character, and that's what makes him interesting because it's not about the hero, because especially with a video game, you're putting yourself into that role.
Yeah.
It's
It's
about
not Batman
who you're
running around
facing.
beating up bullies, but it means it's me.
It's the psychology of the criminal that you're trying to defeat that Batman comics, Batman films have always been the more interesting of anything comic
I think that's
book,
because,
in my opinion.
as far I don't remember if this is my opinion or something I read, because it's been so long coming, or so long in my head.
Yeah.
And that is that the Batman's villains are like a mirror of his life.
Yeah.
Like the Joker is his unstable need for, not necessarily attention, but you see where I'm coming from. I might be wording it wrongly.
Each of his villains, to some extent, is an aspect of his personality or his life.
Yes.
That if he had gone too far, that's who he'd be.
Yeah, so Bane is like his need for violence and beating
Yeah.
people up. The Riddler is his detective, but it's a bad guy. The Joker is his, like I said, it's his unstability. The Scarecrow is his need to use fear tactics.
Yeah. Mr.
Poison
Freeze.
Ivy is his before Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is his sciencey side, I think.
Mr. Freeze is
Or his cold personality.
It's about revenge because Mr. Freeze is trying to get revenge
that's
for
right,
his wife who's got this disease, and it's about like how far you'd push revenge.
Yeah. Two-Faces is
Living
dual
two lives. Yeah.
And then there's the Poison Ivy, which I know of, which I think is his like, because he's a good-looking Bruce Wayne's a good-looking dude in every series. I've never seen like, who's the Batman, and he whips off the vibe. He's like, oh good God, it's the ugly hunchback Bruce Wayne. It's like, it's the, he's a good-looking dude. So Poison Ivy is his seductiveness kind of deal.
Okay. Maybe there's a bit of like the question of nature versus nurture. But yeah, no, like in this film, the other criticism that I heard, which I do agree with to a certain extent, the ending is a bit stringy. Is the best way I can describe it to avoid spoilers. If you study like filmmaking, script, narrative structure, anything like that, there is a really nice moment in this film that feels like a completion, like the film is about to end, and then you realise that you've not confronted the main villain yet, and there's an extra 45 minutes to an hour left on the film. So like,
aha, the end of the film hasn't arrived yet.
Exactly, that happens, and I was almost like on the edge of my seat, like ready to get up, like waiting for the credits to start, and I was like, oh shit, no, we haven't dealt with the Riddler. So yeah, like that's a weird like structural problem, but I still really enjoy the process. You get to wander around crime scenes with Batman doing crime scene things. Again, like as you just said before, the fear tactics, that is a big deep element of this film, and I love the Batmobile. They waited till about halfway through the film before they brought the Batmobile out, but it's just so nice.
Is it like classic Batmobile, or is it like a tank?
No, it's a muscle car. This is what I was talking about, it being grounded and realistic.
So it's not like the last Batmobile in the movies, which was, you know, a tank. It wasn't, you know, here, oh, it's the Batmobile. No, it's the Bat tank.
Yeah. So it's not that kind of thing. It's got some like hints and nods to the classic Adam West style Batmobile, which was just a car. But this thing, you know, it's got steel plating on the front so it can ram through, you know, maybe loose brick walls, but like it's designed to be somewhat armor plated and like bulletproof glass.
It's just a bulletproof car. Have you got an image of it? So for the audio listeners, this isn't going to be very interesting, just listening to us Google something. So just go to Google and type in Batmobile 2022.
You'll see this car, and yeah, you'll be happy with it.
Oh wow, that looks like the car from Death Race, the 2008 film.
Yeah, it's got a lot of. It reminds me of the car. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's a car that's like haunted and kills people.
Oh yeah, the Futurama did an episode parodying that, like the Were car.
Yeah, I think Simpsons has done one as well. Like there's quite a few. It's an old movie that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Simpsons has parodied everything at this point.
It's got those old school intimidation muscle car vibes, and it looks really good. And they really use like the fear tactics in the car and the chase scene. It looks really good.
Like if that was chasing me, well, I mean, if any car was chasing me, I'd be panicked. But if that was coming at me, I'd be like, well, it's either the Batman or a drug dealer. So,
and there's some nods to like the classic like 60s Adam West Batmobile in there as well. And just in some of the design of it, like the flicks on the
like
on
gadgets
the back.
and...
No, on the back, like the flicks of the wings, like the bat wings.
Oh, the actual design, right?
Yeah, but it's just a modified Dodge Charger, essentially, and it looks really good. The other movie I got to watch in the cinema was Uncharted. So again, no spoilers for Uncharted. I have a problem with the title of this movie. Yes, because I haven't played the Uncharted games. Have you played Uncharted?
No, so I didn't own a PlayStation 3 or 4. I mean,
whichever one.
PlayStation 2 was the last one I owned.
Yeah.
So no, I've skipped that.
Yeah, Uncharted has always been PlayStation exclusive, and
it's Naughty Dog, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. But it was like. Even when the movie started, it was like PlayStation Studios or whatever, because it's like their license because they own it. So I haven't played any of the Uncharted games, but for those that have, it's called Uncharted. The problem with this film was there was a map of the location they needed to go to, so it was charted.
Right, yes. Like that took a full 2 seconds for my brain to register what you said, and then already that annoys me.
So I can't really say how accurate the film Uncharted was to the games,
since you've never played them.
Having never played them, a lot of the criticism I heard was that Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg were too young to play these specific characters, and
are they the main characters?
That Tom Holland is playing Nathan Drake, who's supposed to be like in his late 30s, kind of.
Late 30s, early 40s, depending on the game.
Yeah, and then Mark Wahlberg is playing Sully, who's supposed to be in his 50s.
I don't even know who that is.
He's supposed to have a mustache and grey hair a little bit. And Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland are big actors that are going to pull people in. Really, they wanted Tom Holland. They wanted to cash in on the Spider-Man success, the Spider-Man film that has come out like 3 months ago. They timed it well for like, you like Tom Holland in this movie, we've got more Tom Holland for you.
Yeah, Tom Holland is a good actor. I can't deny that.
And he's very prolific right now. There's
He's
a lot
funny
of
dude as well. If you watch some interviews with him.
yeah. He's pretty funny, and he's got a long career ahead of him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just on the interviews alone, I've seen some interviews where he's just walked on stage and started talking and people are shocked he's got a British accent.
Yeah.
And it's amazing where he goes like, no, I'm proper British, mate. And they go, okay, you can stop putting on the accent. Like, no, this is my normal accent. I put on an American accent and then he does the American accent. There you go. And he's like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing in so many American films these days that unless you're watching the interviews and stuff, you're only hearing his American accent. So I understand why some people are a little confused. And there is
to be fair, I didn't know he was British until he started speaking.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't put that on. That's not possible.
Yeah. And there's a lot of tropes of betrayal in this film. Everybody betrays everybody at every opportunity. And it gets a bit too far at some points. There's about 5 or 6 betrayals in this movie where one character turns against another character at one moment or another because everybody's going after the prize and everybody wants it just for themselves.
So what is it like? I betray you, aha, but not before I betray you. Oh no, I've been betrayed by my duo, but they've betrayed each other, sort of deal.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's like, I feel like every time there's a betrayal, it should just be dun, 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 and it just gets more high pitched as it goes.
And like, there's some problems with it. There's some very obvious like product placement. They have a fight scene in a Papa John's, and they talk about the fact that it's a Papa John's, and it's like really obvious product placement.
Who's been product placed?
And then one of the betrayals happens, and the 2 characters that get betrayed say, "Oh, this person has probably done exactly this," and there's no information given to the characters to come to that conclusion, none at all. But the audience has all the information to put it together.
Okay.
So the characters know it because the audience knows it, and that was the moment in the film. I was like, it's ropey. It's a popcorn movie. It's not a serious, it's not a Dark Knight. Sorry, it's not a Batman.
It's a film you go. It's a film you go to cinema. You lean back and you're throwing popcorn at your face, not in your mouth, because you never throw it in your mouth. You throw it at your face and then pick up what you've not eaten, rather than the sat forward with the suspense, like full attention, like I'm in this film.
Yeah, it's that kind of film. And even though it was that kind of film, and I was kind of expecting it to be cheesy, that moment broke it for me. That was like the laziest moment of storytelling, of scripting that I'd noticed. It's like somebody has reshot a scene there and had to put that in to make things make sense, because some producer is worried that the audience isn't going to understand.
No audience member left behind.
Yeah, but it's like it leaves, by not leaving behind 10% of your audience, you leave 90% of your audience going.
Well, yeah, by not leaving behind 10%, you lose 90.
Yeah,
by the immersion. So that's the films you've seen. So you've seen those films. But the film I'm actually really looking forward to is the Sonic 2 film, which might be a bit juvenile of me, considering my age. But I grew up on the original Sonic games, and we've talked about Sonic a few times, like how the games and the movies, and we talked about the original Sonic 2 trailer. I've just seen a new one that's released, a couple of new ones released. One was just the classic awesome action scenes, the fight scenes, but then there was one that caught my attention. It was like a minute long, and it is just bits of the second trailer, so the fight that's happening, and it is Robotnik or Eggman, in other words Jim Carrey's reaction to that fight scene, and he just looked like he was having so much fun because he always looks like he's having fun, obviously. I think he does enjoy his job, but I think he's really enjoying playing this incredibly camp villain. Yeah. Like, if you watch the trailer, he's like, just in it. Like, he's in the character who is essentially the villain mocking the audience, and it is brilliant. I love it.
Like, Jim Carrey kind of fell away a little bit for a few years. He didn't do a lot of performances, and, like, since the Sonic movies, seen him come back and doing that. I mean, he's always been a living cartoon character, but being able to come back and be a cartoon character,
he's loving it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. is like his style of comedy sort of fell out with the audience,
Yeah.
and then he's been given a chance to show that he's still relevant and funny, because he always has been.
Yeah.
And people have gone, oh no, we were wrong, we should bring him back, and he's just getting all these opportunities. It's great to see.
Yeah, no,
the Jim Carrey working again, because I've always loved his stuff.
I mean, like you said that Sonic is like a a juvenile thing, but for our generation, Sonic was the game of our youth.
Yeah.
But Jim Carrey was also like the cartoonish actor of our youth as well. So tying those two things together is great. Like
It's good synergy. Yeah, it's good.
I'm thinking about Liar Liar is like for me is the big Jim Carrey movie that I remember from when I was younger, and then like playing Sonic on like, the Mega Drive was about the same time in my life.
Well, the thing is like when I think Jim Carrey, like one of my all-time favorite films is Bruce Almighty. And I know it's not a great film, I get that, but it's still one of my favorites because at a dark point in my life, I'd watch that film and it would always it still makes me smile, still makes me laugh. I know exactly what's coming. I can quote it line for line, but it makes me smile and laugh. Yeah. So what's it matter? And it's the same with what was the other film I was just thinking of? So you've got Bruce Almighty, and then there's the film is Yes Man, when he's in Yes Man. Again, just brilliantly funny. And I think he fits this Robotnik character to a T.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. I am, however, interested to see how well the Sonic 2 film does.
Yes.
Now there isn't the shock factor.
Yeah.
And by the shock factor, I mean the original trailer of Sonic 1.
Mm-hmm.
No one likes the design. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a joke.
It was his eyes, wasn't it?
It was his eyes and his shape. But yeah, like they didn't like the design, and they were basically, well, people say here they were bullied into redesigning it. I think they had the original design in the first place and did it as a marketing thing. Maybe. Again, that could just be my conspiracy theory. But I'd be really interested to see how well the Sonic 2 film does now that there isn't that shock value. So people went to go see it to see how the new design looked.
Yeah.
And then Jim Carrey sort of stole the show.
Yeah.
And now I'm interested in seeing how many people are going to go see it. So you'll have like demographics. You've got the kids that go watch it to see the cartoon character, and then you've got the nostalgia people like me that go and watch it for that. But then you've got people that originally went to go see it for the shock value. They won't be there.
Yeah.
Unless they ended up liking the first film.
You never know.
And then you've got the group that want to see Jim Carrey be campy and funny.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in seeing how well the numbers do compared to the first one.
I mean, the draw for this one is Knuckles. Because Idris Elba is playing Knuckles in this one. So you were mentioning like in the trailer he's in a fight scene and Robotnik is commenting on the fight scene. It's Sonic versus Knuckles in this one. I think Sonic versus Knuckles was a game.
It's a game. Third game in the series. So he's had Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, which is Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if you wanted to play as Knuckles, you had to buy a separate cartridge to plug into the cartridge, which is an amazing piece of tech at the time. But on the topic of Knuckles, is like everyone's like, oh, Knuckles, yeah, cool fight scene, like rivals meeting. Mm-hmm. Very few people are talking about the fact, guess who else turns up? Tails, who was hinted at the end of the first film. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting to see because no matter who I ask, I get one of two reactions to Tails is, I love him, he's adorable, he's really cool and clever and all that. And then you got the, oh, for Christ's sake, you know, it's Tails, he's an annoying, whiny little kid and all that. And it's just really interesting to see the love-hate relationship people have with Tails. Because there's never any, like, I don't care about him. Because some people are like, oh, I don't care about Knuckles.
He's the Marmite of the Sonic.
Yeah, okay. Right. That took me a second, and then I realised that Marmite has a yellow top, so yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
When I was a kid, because I'm the younger brother, I was player 2 for my whole life. I've always been player 2. So I was Tails. When we played Sonic and Sonic 2, it was Sonic and Tails, and I had to be Tails because my brother was Sonic.
The way you're saying that, you said you had to be Tails, and I always had to be Tails. Are you in the hate category?
So I empathise with the hatred of Tails because I always empathise with people that get stepped on in life. But
you're not saying no.
But I kind of have to like. I've lived in that world of being Tails for so long.
Mobius.
Yeah, it's like it's osmosis. into my brain.
So you like him?
I haven't watched any of the like animated series. I've played some of the more modern games, so I don't know Tales that well.
Maybe it's me because again, I played the games on, like you say, the Mega Drive and the Sega.
Yeah.
And then I watched the animated series. You know, Sonic Underground, Sonic Adventures, all these different shows. And, you know, I read the comics growing up as well.
Yeah, but then when you play something like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, that's probably one of the more recent like things that I've played with Sonic in it. I would not.
Sonic and Mario. That was just a fun game with the skins of Mario and Sonic and all that. Because Sonic runs at the speed of sound. He's not going to lose a 100-meter race against a fat plumber.
Yeah,
he's just not.
Yeah, to be fair, but like in those kinds of games, I would never pick Tails. Like there's Shadow, there's Knuckles, there's 100 other people, 100 other characters, even the villain characters that I'd much happier pick over Tails.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm anti Tails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knuckles is the draw for this one. Tails is not. Tails is going to be there for the whole episode, for the whole movie, and Knuckles is going to be there for 2 fight scenes, and at the end of the second fight scene, he's going to switch sides because like
stop predicting a film.
Knuckles,
that's what I do.
Knuckles and Sonic are like friends. Like
no, so
well, right. Well,
they never are at the start.
Yeah,
and this is basically a movie rendition of Sonic versus Sonic and Knuckles the game.
Yeah,
obviously slightly different setting.
Yeah,
and whatnot, but the premise is the same. Because Knuckles is the guardian of the Master Emerald.
Yeah,
which is, you know, control of all the Chaos Emeralds, which haven't been introduced to the series in the first film. So it'll be very interesting. And there's also hints to Sonic's origin of the film, you know, with the mother owl and everything from the first film. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll when it comes out, you can go watch it, and then we'll get your actual opinions on the actual film.
Yeah, and so that's it about films. But there was one thing which I wanted to have a brief talk about, which is Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I love how it looks. Haven't played it.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna be honest. I played Dark Souls 1 and 2 to completion. Mm-hmm. Like we're talking max. Dark Souls 1, I had a character with max stats.
Okay.
Like new game plus 30. That's not an exaggeration either. On the Xbox 360. And Dark Souls 2, I sort of played with a friend. I sort of like missed 3 onwards. Mm-hmm. I played a bit of Bloodborne, but I sort of missed it. Not due to disliking the game.
Yeah.
It's just one of those series that there's so many series that are vying for my attention. This one sort of
fell away.
Yeah, it sort of slipped through the gaps.
Yeah.
But this is the game I'm thinking of going back because I've seen the memes,
mm-hmm.
I've seen the trailers. It just looks great. It looks like Dark Souls 1, but with a brand new coat of paint.
Yeah.
And I really, really like that. Oh, apparently it's open world.
Yeah.
So that's also got my attention.
Well, I have never played any of the Dark Souls games mostly because everybody that plays it tells me how brutal it is and how easy it is to die and how far back you get put when you do die.
Yeah.
And just for me personally, that's not how I play games.
You don't play games to have to repeat and grind. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the kind of player that like if I lose a lot of progress in a game, I will probably
rage quit.
Quietly turn it off. And
You'll rage quit. There's no other word for it. You'll turn the game. I've seen you do it in Space Engineers.
Then I destroy. If I lose a lot of if I lose hours and hours of progress, I hate myself because I think all that time I spent was wasted. Even if I enjoyed it, this is something like
you make no progress. Therefore,
people
mistake that as like you've made no progress. Therefore, you've completed it.
Like delving deep into my psyche for a moment and psychoanalyzing myself. Like I feel like because I've not achieved the next, like I've not got to the next save point, and I can't progress from that point again. A lot of my brain goes, "Why did you just waste the past however much time doing this thing?"
Yeah,
and you're gonna have to do it again. And yeah, obviously you're enjoying the process, but I don't necessarily enjoy that process as much.
Yeah.
Not in like the fighty kind of games.
You don't enjoy the process unless there is an outcome.
Yeah.
You won't like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You won't like the From Software series because it's a great game, but it is hard.
Yeah.
And unless you're willing to take it incredibly slow, which can be boring, it might not be for you.
I know from people talking about it, from trailers, from everything. I'm very aware it's not my kind of game, so I'm not going to delve too deeply into it myself.
I did like that. I do like the games. I do like how they hurt me, and they're fun. They are okay. They're fun until you die, and then they're not fun, and then I'll tell you who it's for. It's for stubborn people.
Yeah.
That's who it's for. And if you like the games and you like the fact that you die and you have to keep going, unless you're like the get good type who's really good at the game, you're a stubborn person. And if you can't admit that, then these games will tell you to your face you're a stubborn person. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just be aware it might not be for you. If you've like, this probably won't be the game you should jump in if you're gonna jump in the From Software series.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously you make Dark Souls. There's no reason to make Dark Souls 2 unless you're going yes and building on your premise. So Dark Souls 2, then 3, then everything that follows needs to be bigger, better.
Yeah, okay, yes. In terms of gameplay, I agree. The story flops around a bit.
Okay.
In Dark Souls. Because the thing is that it's Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 connected. Everything after that, I don't think is necessarily connected. I think they're on separate games.
As far as I can tell from Elden Ring, it feels like it's the same universe, same world. Whether it's in the same timeline, like, I'm not sure.
Well, the Dark Souls timeline is vast.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 1 is set in Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 is set in a time where even the gods are forgotten.
Yeah.
Like, and the gods are immortal. So it's like, oh, and then Dark Souls 3 is set in between the two, I think. Again, I only played a small amount of Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, the time. If you talk about the Dark Souls timeline, there is some really deep lore about Dark Souls, which, a couple of YouTube videos might make you cry.
Yeah.
With the sad stories, but it's worth it.
The interesting thing though is the open world aspect, and this is the only thing that like hooks me in that I might be able to play this game, because what I know of this game is, with it being open world, when you get to the open area, you go after a boss, and if that guy's kicking your ass, you can turn around and run away and be like, okay, I need to go do some training, some grinding, fight some little bosses before I can take this guy on.
So that theory is applicable to all the Dark Souls. So if you can't beat a boss, you can just go grind all the small guys and level
get some
up
XP,
to get some XP. But eventually it gets to the point where unless you're going to spend weeks grinding, you're still going to have a tough time.
Yeah.
But this one seems very much like, if you can't deal with this, go somewhere else. So at the same time, they have giveth and they have taketh away.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you can run into any boss any time and just be like, what the hell is that? Oh, sweet Jesus, and you're dead.
Yeah.
Very hard. And you can't get past a certain area without killing this boss. Very difficult. You can, however, then just go to an easier area and grind.
Yeah.
So I think we've been talking quite a while now about all the things we've done over our COVID periods. And so we've talked about Jack Reacher, 3 different movies, and a small dive into Elden Ring. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will catch you in the next podcast.
Bye, everyone.